Right, that, of course, leads us into the conversation we're having this morning. And we've got a very special guest who's joining us. Good morning, Njeri.
Good morning.
How are ya?
Akim Kona energy. Oh my God.
That's what's up.
You have so much energy.
It's what we do. We make sure, Yani, that the nation is ready to go out there and conquer the day.
Yeah, man. That's guys.
Wow.
We're on steroids.
Good job.
Thank you so much.
You are.
Njeri Mwangi, of course, journalist at the BBC, and she did an amazing expose on a topic we want to have right here in, of course, the show. If you're just tuning, of course, it's Kwambokes, your captain of good vibes.
And Kev Matara right here.
Yeah.
Yo, so hey, I have to say, confession, Jerry. I did not know since the last conversation we had, ulikuwa mnoma hivyo on the BBC.
Yeah.
That was a good job you did. You did not mention anything about BBC.
Alikuwa tu
Here we are now.
Alikuwa hapa movie star last time. All right, before we go any further, we want to say congratulations. Softy Film is doing amazing, won accolades outside of the country, and it has it's being considered for an Oscar.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
First Kenyan movie.
Imagine that.
We're doing great. Kenya, we're on the map.
Imagine that. Yeah. But that's not why we're here to speak. Unajua Udem and multifaceted. You're probably seen her on Boniface Mwangi and Anambia Karao. Where? And you know, she usually has this fearless look.
Yeah.
When you see the photos, unaona sengine hapo wako matia gas, machozi, makabasi inatoka. Lakini yeye amesimama hapo anambia Karao, so unadu.
Ukweli tu, wanakwanga wakidu nini manze.
Yeah, but she's a fearless woman. That's what's up.
Fearless, but she took us to a whole other level. Yep. I don't know if you guys have taken the time, because yesterday I told you go and watch this documentary. It is available on YouTube. Njeri did an expose on child trafficking in the 254, and most especially Hapa in the city of Nairobi. And very, if you're a mother, if you're a parent, Kevin, you watched this. What did you feel?
I was traumatized. I'm still traumatized, Manze. I know. Let me tell you, it's amazing how the level of ignorance about issues like this happening in Kenya. Yeah. People just don't think trafficking happens in this country. When I'm getting to new story, a bunch of people trying to cross the Mediterranean and going to Italy or whatever. Yeah. Let me tell you, when you watch that documentary, as a parent, your life changes.
So, Kevin, before we have this conversation, Njeri, how old is your daughter?
My daughter's turning 3 next year.
So ripe for kidnapping.
Yeah, imagine literally.
Ripe. Me. These are the stats. These are the stats.
Ripe.
Wewe unakumbuka Anita kwa hiyo nini alisema kwamba watoi wanafaa kwa 3 years and under.
Yeah.
So, Njeri, tell us, how did you decide to do this documentary?
So, kuna dem anaitwa Judith from Ghetto Radio, and Judith anashindanga akiget ma request na madem.
Yeah.
Madem za watu wao wameibiwa for so long. So she talked to us and we said, you know what? I think there's a problem. Let's see how bad this problem is. So actually, it's something imefanywa for 1.5 years.
Wow.
So there was a time for research. If this is a story, ama ni watu kukua careless or something. Manze research show there is something really, really horribly insane happening.
Yeah.
And so we decided to check it out in the hospitals, in the clinics, kwa mtaa.
Yeah.
Then we found there's a real problem.
Now, earlier we had asked this question, guys, where do you think, most of the kids are stolen from?
Yeah.
And there's a listener who tweeted at us and said, or sent us a message on the SMS line, akasema, Pumwani Hospital, which is now known as Mama Lucy Kibaki. What did you discover when you went there?
So when we went there, we found this one guy called Fred. Fred is a social worker from the hospital, and his work is to make sure that vulnerable children, wale wame abandoniwa, wamepelekwa children's home, they can be taken care of until they can be put up for adoption.
Yeah.
Lakini saa vile Fred udu, ana organized, anauzia mtu. So on transit, mtu ye akireleasewa hosi, aende children's home. Yeah. In between there, anauza mtoi. To whoever kule walipatana vile walielewana, anauza mtoi. All under the watch of the hospital. Maybe they are not. So I'm not saying that the hospital is the one facilitating this.
Yes.
Okay, but Fred under the watch of the hospital because he's an employee of the hospital. Anauza mtoi.
Yeah.
Na tulijaribu to get Fred a comment. Fred refused to, to give us any response. Yeah.
Now we're going to take a short commercial break there, Njeri. Watu wapate kupumua kidogo. 18 minutes past 8 a.m. And it's important to note that Mama Lucy Hospital CEO, a top official and staff who was caught selling an abandoned baby have been detained because of this expose that you did. So we're going to talk more about that. Ladies and gentlemen, remember you're on Morning Vibes. And of course, it's time from Jadala, Court of Public Opinion.
Morning Vibes, where you are the MVP. No negative vibes.
Yes, all right, we're going back into Jadala, and we've got a friend of Vibes, none other than Njeri Mwangi. She's also a BBC journalist and international superstar.
Yep. She's about to win herself an Oscar. Nime predict, Njeri. Believe me, I'm the first one to break this news.
I claim it.
Yes.
I claim it.
Kabisa.
Yeah.
But as now we're not talking about Oscars. Let's not get you watoto.
No.
And before we took the break, of course, we were talking about this documentary that you did that has led DCI to actually arrest some 3 individuals at this hospital. That's Mama Lucy Kibaki Hospital. In the documentary, we watch this man literally hand over 3 babies to a stranger so that he can get money, and basically one of them is supposed to be taken. Sindio?
Yeah.
Now, DCI, of course, have said they have reasons to believe that there is a well-organized gang that's operating within the country whose other players are yet to be established. So the CEO, a top official and staff who are caught stealing, including the guy you were saying, have been arrested. Now, Kevin had a conversation this morning. Kevin, tell us what you guys were discussing on your way to work.
So now, we're just talking about generally the situation regarding
the guy who was made to, according to Akina Kevin, right? So when they watch the documentary, there's some thoughts that
it's. Let me just explain it the way we'll basically just, guys were like, oh my God, did you watch that documentary, Baby Stealers? It was so crazy, Maze, and I can't believe this is happening in the 254. So somebody said, Njeri, and you need to make sense of this as a journalist and somebody who you've gone through this process, you listen to these stories by these women who've probably been affected. And Waluwanasema, the way you interrogated the doctor, it's like he was induced. He was induced
to take the bribe.
And
sell the baby.
Yeah, what are your thoughts here? He wasn't even going to take it in the first place if he did not show up. It's a crazy way of looking at it.
Yeah.
If you do not have the offer, rather.
So the reality is there's the rule of supply and demand. Yeah? So if there was no one wanting these children, there would be no one trying to find children to sell them. Yeah? So it's not that Fred knows that there's people who need children and are desperate and will do anything and will pay any amount to get a child. And so he uses that he operates in that space. Unajua kuna mtu atakuwa too desperate, atatoa tu doyo yote ndio agetoa mtoi. Na amejiposition ati mtu desperate akitokelezea kaa huyo atamsort.
Yeah.
So he was not induced.
Yeah.
It's something that he's done. It's something that he thrives on because he knows that he has the opportunity. He has all the resources to make it happen.
Yeah.
And I added to what to when we were having this conversation, Kevin, I said, if this isn't your thing, you wouldn't take the money. In fact, the first thing he would have done is call the authorities on this. He would have been the one trying to do an expose on this woman who was trying to buy a baby.
Yeah. He'd have been the whistleblower.
Yeah. So which made a lot of sense. But I'm just curious now. After obviously this documentary was aired, what's the feedback like? Are you getting calls from other women who are saying, you know what, I've lost my baby. Can we work out something and help me trace my baby? Because I know the women who've even given up. They're not even reporting cases. And they're suffering in silence.
The reality is, it's people. More people who've talked about it are the ones who have said they've lost their children, but in different ways. Mostly the people who can reach me, mostly through hospitals. Yeah, and they don't believe either their children died because that's what they were told, and there's nothing they can do about it.
Wait, just hold on. You're saying niende kwa hosi kuzalisha alafu mtoi disappear.
Unaambia mtoi amedai.
Hey.
So most of these public hospitals they don't allow you to come in with your husband or with any other person. Unaingia peke yako ukienda kuget mtoi.
Yeah.
Yeah. At that point, unajua manze mimi niko na watu watatu.
Yeah.
The pain of childbirth is like I can't even start to explain. So when you're in all that pain and everything is happening, uko peke yako, you're afraid, the pain is overcoming you, uko peke yako. If anything happens, where ujui, you'll take what you're told.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my personal problem is that I think it should actually be required that when you're going to deliver, usiwahi enda peke yako.
True.
And if you're hearing me, don't ever let anyone you know go and have their child by themselves. Let them go with a mother, with their husband, with a friend.
Yeah.
And it's also good for the hospital. It covers them because wakisema this is what happened. There's someone to vouch and say yes, it's true. Aliingia, then pressure yake ikapanda, and then blah blah blah, and then this followed, and then we did this. There's someone to vouch for them that is not internal.
Yeah.
Because when mothers come out wanasema this is what happened, there's her story against the hospital. Yeah.
All right, let's talk. Of course, when we watched this documentary, of course, a lot of people were angry. I was watching it with someone who said, huyo Anita anafa kumalizwa. But then I saw something different. And you mentioned it. It's the theory of demand and supply.
Yeah.
I want us to talk about what is causing women to go out there and decide that they need a baby through the black market. Because this is, if we don't look at ourselves as a society and say that we play a part in this, because why would a woman, I'm trying to understand, like, why would you go knowingly very well that this baby amechukuliwa from black market, you didn't zaa umtoi, and you're ready to raise them as your own, and you're denying another mother their child. How do you live with that?
Morning Vibes, where you are the MVP. No negative vibes.
All right, the conversation we're having right here on Ja de la Costa Public Opinion. There is a pandemic, yes, COVID, but there is another pandemic called children's black market. Now we asked you as a mamande muko, ukipatana na dem wako, hawezi get pregnant, what would you do? And the answers, I think majority said adoption.
Yeah.
Majority said adoption.
And then, but it was close to also the guys were saying, I'm going to be content. We don't even have to have a baby. So stay content with your girl.
Yeah.
That one is also equally as, there's a lot of people who are.
I think that is also an age thing.
Yeah.
Before you're in that scenario, because ukienda kwa ushago mazome beba dema hapo, hiyo ni reality.
Yeah.
Wase ushago, ukifika tu hapo nakuuliza, hey, Kevin.
Yeah.
Kwani umetuletea nyumba yenye haina, so me, I'm an empty nyungu. Unanielewa?
Umekuja tu na space.
Ako ka pressure katakam. So Njeri,
they
of
also
course,
call them dry piece of wood.
Imagine.
Yeah.
Dry piece of wood.
Imagine that.
And when you're doing your expose, is this some of the driving? What did you find are the driving factors to make this trade booming?
So we were investigating mostly if it's real that children are being sold. We have another piece coming out at the end of this month that answers that question very specifically.
Okay.
Yeah, why are women opting to sell children? Why are people opting to buy children? Yeah. But you see, we would not find somebody who will say, "Mini lenda nikabuy mtoi black market."
Yeah.
Yeah. Highly, because that one, you might as well just take yourself to the cells and say, I am here to report myself. I bought a child black market and I want to return. Unless someone like that wants to come clean.
Yeah.
But I think the conversation that we will have, the next expose that we're having, addresses that question of why women are selling babies. Yeah.
So Njeri, there's that lady, the Luo lady, I can't remember her name. The one who was gonna
Mary Oma?
Yeah, Mary Oma. And she said, she can even organize for those women who want to buy the babies, she can organize for them birth certificates, right? So my question is, and you want to tell me, is it possible that there are people in government, in these government offices who are aware that this illegal trade is happening?
Let me start by saying we, the people, are the government.
Yes.
There's no building called the government. It's people there. At a Vibes Radio, building, ni nyinyi,
Yes.
So yes,
people.
There are people in government that, and like the police have said, it's a syndicate. Because for this to be able to function and happen properly, such that one child disappears from one mother's arm, and appears in another mother's arms and is in the system.
Yeah.
Yeah? How is it that what is the order? What is the chain that child gets into the system as kwa box na ni mimi nilimzaa na sikupatia kwa box. Kwa box alinibia mtoi. You get? So there are people that are enabling this to provide those papers because those papers are government papers.
Of course.
They're not fake.
Yeah.
And they get into the system. How are they not able to tell fake papers if there are? And how are they not able to tell that this is real? How is it that they can't be able to track and see that this child is not Kwambox, or where did Kwambox get this baby?
Or they know and they just choose to ignore.
Yeah.
Or they know and they choose to ignore.
For me,
they wouldn't be bothered.
Njeri, when I watched this documentary, and I remember when you posed undercover and you went to get Anita, you went to save that baby.
Yeah.
And by the way, we're going to post the picture of that baby because that baby currently is missing.
Yeah.
I felt, and this was my personal thinking, I felt Anita was tipped off. That's what I felt.
Yeah.
Because she looked like she was ready. Remember, she had said that when she was talking to that your informant, she said that, unajua, madam wanenanga for 40K. Right? Or 45. And then she said, boy child anaenda for 80K. So now, amenda meget sasa mtoi. Now, when the informer came, she was like, mi najua mse mwenye anaweza nunua at 80K. Right? And she was like, what? That's a good offer. But then when she came and sized you, something ticked her. Like something ticked in her mind, and she was like, because she looked like she was in. She was like, okay, good, cool. So it looks like she can pay. But then she went. Right? So for me, I feel like she was tipped off by the system that understands that an expose is being done.
You think, yeah.
But I know, can you comment on that?
You think that's a possibility?
Because I can only speculate with you. I wouldn't know for a fact whether she was tipped off or what happened. It's possible.
Yeah. So as we speak right now, the listeners who are listening in are saying, wow, Neza uzamtoi. What do you mean?
Yeah.
How much were the going rates? What's the going rate on the street?
So like for Anita, because she's in the streets and she wants to do a very quick deal, all of them do.
Yeah.
Whether they're in hospital, they want to do a quick deal in and out.
Yeah.
So Anita would sell her children, like she said, between 40,000 to whatever the best deal she can get above that. Yeah, and that's Anita's price.
Yeah.
Mary Auma, who runs a clinic, what happened with her is that when we caught her, or at least when we had an experience with her, she was trying to sell one of our informants again, a child at 45,000 shillings.
Yeah.
And you see her negotiate. She says, unajua tumetoka 60 sasa tuko 45, siwezi enda chini ya hiyo. But also she was selling as a child that was in the womb.
Imagine. Well, the mom is in labor.
Yes. Hey. When the mom was na hapo nyuma in her clinic, huku in labor, ananiambia huyo akizaa nitakupatia.
Imagine.
What she had told this girl was that I will give you I can maybe try and get 10 Gs.
What?
And then I'll give you 5 or 7 Gs, and then I can keep the others for doing this biashara for you. So
the mother who is in labor, who has carried this child for 9 months, might just get 10 Gs.
You're being too generous.
Like 5K.
The deal was 10 Gs.
What?
Yeah, 5K, 7K.
Because she's not told her that she's selling this kid for 45K.
No, she hasn't told her that.
Yeah. So there's no particular criteria that they use to determine the price of a baby. Ni tu yani chap.
Size.
Unajua ukienda mtumba vile unasaidiwa up from a distance. Unaona huyu anakaa ni kama atatoa 3,000 for these shoes. Mwingine akikama negotiate 1,200 atapewa.
Yeah. And you're saying, okay, so I saw different levels of sellers, right?
Yes.
The question is, so like for Mary Auma, she's doing direct business.
Yeah.
So, but Anita is not doing direct. She's taking this. Someone is asking her to provide these children.
So what we learned with Anita is that there's people who do this. So she's also she provides for somebody. So she can sell to me who wanted to buy. Who posed as a buyer. But she also she'll snatch a baby and go and sell to someone who will still sell that child to someone else.
And
so it's that kind of, and the person, our informant, was being recruited into this business.
Oh,
At least that's what Anita, Anita was made to believe, that our informant really wanted to make ends meet, and she saw Anita is doing this thing, and she's like, okay, see, then you show me how to do this deal.
Wow.
And what are the common ways that these traffickers use to, to steal these kids, to induce them, to just get them? You know how you can talk to kids and sweet,
because that baby Western next to Anita was very chill.
Yeah. So what are those ways that you discover these traffickers use to get these kids? So that
women.
Well, okay. Uh-huh.
They use women, because if you see me coming to, do your katoi like this on the cheek, you're 2-3-year-old, you will not suspect me much.
Yeah.
But if you see a man, you'll be like, Allah, this one is even approaching. They look like they're approaching my kid.
Yeah.
So men will create suspicion, but women not as much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll come. I could even sit there. I play with your toy. You will not suspect anything.
Jesus.
So women look like and children also are more trusting.
Yes.
Of all, I guess, of both men and women. But because they're around women in their early stages
Mostly
of life,
women,
they're so much around women. So if another woman comes, they just lean forward towards them. They lean into women.
Yeah.
And it's in that space when this mother is looking the other way, picking something, selling something over there, picking something from her bag or whatever it is, you just look away for a split second and that kid disappears.
Jesus.
It's passed on. Nitashika huyo mtoi, I pass it on, na niko tu hapa alafu nisema, sijui kameenda wapi hapo nikaangalie.
Guy.
And it's baby trafficking.
And to the most vulnerable of us in our society.
Yeah.
And is baby trafficking only common to Nairobi? Other counties are also practicing this trade?
I mean, you've had people call and say all these kinds of things. It's not just Nairobi. So unfortunately, there are no statistics or government records or anything that can tell us how rampant and how widespread it is. But we all know that this is not just a thing in Nairobi.
Yeah.
And it's been happening for a while, you think?
It's been happening for a while because we've seen exposés before. This is not the first time this is coming out. Yeah? What's new with BBC's story, with our story, is that we show, exchange of money for child.
Yeah.
We show that it's in the streets. We show that it's in the hospitals. We show that it's in some illegal clinics within those communities.
So there are mothers who are listening to you right now, and they're like, okay, how do what should I look out for? In terms of, I've gone to work, maybe I'm a house help somewhere. I have to leave my child in the care centers at home. And you're saying that someone can come for my baby. So what are these traffickers looking for? Because there was a criteria. That's why I was saying Kevin's baby is, ripe for kidnapping.
That's like the perfect age, I feel. Yeah.
So young children, you need to know their names.
Okay.
As in, if mtoi, at the moment a child can say, baba, kamama, kaswiti. They don't know your names. They call you mom and dad.
Yeah.
They don't know where they live. We live in Umoja Phase 2, house number, yada, yada. Children, as soon as they can speak, they need to know their name. They need to know where they come from. And they need to know the names of their parents. Mtoi akipotea, tuseme tu ukweli, mtoi wandered away. And the police, and someone saw them and the child did not know. Wapelekwe kwa karao, utauliza unaitwa nani? Atasema mimi naitwa Njeri Mwangi. Unaishi wapi? Ninaishi Nairobi West. You know? Mama yako anaitwa nani? I'll say my mother's name. Baba yako anaitwa nani? They'll say. So they can try and find, and they say nimetoka Nairobi West. They will find, at least they've zeroed in on where this child could be from. So as soon as the children can speak, get them to know their names and your names. And whatever other names around.
Okay.
If they can. Me, when my kids were very young, I told them my phone number. They didn't know dad's phone number. I told them my phone number, which I have had since I have had all my kids. I got my number when I was in campus. So my kids know my phone number offhand. If you ever go anywhere, if you're in the mall, upote, if I walk away, you don't know where I've gone, I've been gone too long, call me. So that's one. Two, who are you leaving your children with? If say your child can't speak, she or he is 1 year old. I is younger. Who are you leaving your children with? Make sure, don't be too, when you're around people, crowds, just keep your eye on your child. As in, mshike mkono. Wacha mtembe pole pole, wacha kuvurute, just hold your baby. Ama umbebe, ujibebe. Know who is with your child at any given time, anywhere. because that is your security.
So how do you know?
Then for me, the other thing.
Go ahead.
How do you know that somebody let's say now you get a house girl, yeah? Like just somebody random, you've traveled outside the country, you're like, you know what? I've been referred to you. I think I trust you. Please take care of my daughter here. What are some of the signs that you should look out for? And then you're like, see, this one, I don't trust this one.
Are you asking me as a mother or as a journalist?
As a
mother. Both, in fact.
And a journalist.
Me, standard. I just don't leave my children with strangers. That's it.
Kaboom.
But obviously, like, but the thing is, like, people are very busy. So at some point, you're going to have to leave your baby with somebody to watch over your kids. You know what I mean? And I mean, must be something that should be like an alarm, especially for parents, new parents especially.
Yeah.
There must be something that they can look out for and say, the character of this woman. Mrs. Emotion na mtigo wangu.
But sasa unasikia wananulia watu hii sweet sasa. Utajuaje? Atakuwa the nicest. Umetoka tu hivi umeenda job. Okay, baba nani, bye. Aujui anakuambia bye forever.
Kai.
Forever.
Yeah.
But Njeri, you were saying something. There's something else you wanted to add.
I wanted to say, I think from the conversations that we've had, we asked if you have a wife that cannot give birth.
Yes.
If there's a responsibility that has been put on women that is not fair. It is not my responsibility to give birth.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. It is mine and yours. It's me and my husband. It's me and my boyfriend. However you want to start your family.
Yeah.
It's you too. So this question of even the society saying, umetuletea a dry piece of wood. What if the guy is a dry piece of wood?
Yeah.
Yeah? We should cease placing this responsibility on women as though it's up to them.
Yeah.
That if I can't give birth, then this guy can go and do whatever it is. So it's me who has to prove or bring a baby home. Yeah, because if this is the conversation, then this is why we are driving women to do go to whatever depth to bring a child home so that society can be happy.
Yeah.
So that my husband can be happy. Why? Yeah? Stay with me. Let's figure this out. It could be you that is not having, that was the reason why we're not able to have a child. So the conversation needs to be family starts with two people. It's not her that starts a family.
Yeah.
This family starts with two people. And we as a society need to start looking at it that way and stop placing that responsibility on this woman.
But I got to tell you,
and that's how we shall agree, then let's go and adopt. Amabasi tukai tu hivyo.
Yeah, Njeri, but we do, part of the reason why this black market exists is because, one, the adoption process is, kind of hectic. And you'll find that some of these adoption agencies are involved in this black market trade. People, when you're talking about other options, you're talking about IVF, which is out of reach for most Kenyans. And it's not 100%. And Africans generally have this need of continuing your legacy. So at some point, the conversation about kids becomes really complex. But I like what you said, not to put the pressure on women, because we are not put on this earth to just be vessels of giving birth.
Or even men.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
All
right. Thank you so much, Njeri.
The thing is, let me just bring something up.
Go ahead.
You talked about adoption being a tedious process. Now, it naturally takes 9 months to get a baby, right?
Yeah.
So I get pregnant today, 9 months from today, then I'll have a baby.
Yeah.
Why is it that when we think of adoption, we want to get a baby in less than 9 months? Is that something that people want to do?
Yeah.
And if that's the case, the assumption that it's a tedious process, what is tedious about it? That you're being vetted? Because you see that adoption agencies, they need to be sure that you're not getting this child to go and sell it or to put it up for sacrifice whatever things that you may want to do. So they need to vet you. Mnachekiana, umeenda ukacheki mtoi for a while you can decide this is the one I want to adopt. For whatever reason, your heart just, the smile, their eyes, whatever, something just drew to them. So that's the baby you want. Then they try and get you to have this kind of relationship so that when you come home, this child, you're not struggling and the child is not struggling. So you're vetted, and also they want to ensure that you have a home that you can take your child to, and they will be raised well, because that is their responsibility.
It is.
Yeah. There's also the assumption that adoption is like mad expensive. It's not. My request even now is that we're talking about it because of the assumption that is made and misconceptions, and I can't even blame you. Even I thought so.
Yeah.
is that you bring in someone from the an adoption agency or even the government.
Yeah.
Because adoption from a government facility can be even as low as 1,000 shillings.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
From 1,000 bob.
Yeah.
And it can go up to 200K because of whatever the lawyers in between there that again, depending with which lawyer you want to go with, watakulipisha whatever money. If you have a friend who is a lawyer, it could be free.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of misconceptions that we need to bust and meet so that we can enable families that are wanting to have to adopt to consider that as an option.
But quick one.
Again,
Quick one. Is it like because I've had stories of people saying, adoption is such a Western concept. Could it also be the culture? So Kenyans just find it hard to adopt. So afadhali tuende nunue mtoi. Chini ya maji without anyone knowing.
Kununua sini the same kamani. Oh, you don't want people to
you
know
don't want people to know that
what
this is
give
and that
back
this is not
naturally.
actually my child. Yeah. It's
But
also probably cultural, yeah.
How do you hide a pregnancy for a whole 9 months?
Hey, madam.
Even sisi society zetu, mimi nikiwa na ball. Get married niko na ball. I want to show everyone that I'm having a baby.
Njeri, wacha nikwambie, madam. Hey.
They do this thing.
Tuta discuss tu kando ni kushoyo story. Kuna ipad inauzwa yenye dem anaeka hivi for 9 months anashinda kiembe husband wake imagine. Your smell inanifanya nasikia nausea. So as the husband you're just like, you know what? I'm going to sleep on the couch. I'm going to sleep in the other room. Udem anapanga for 9 months venye na huyo daktari wake we're going to watching Nigerian movies with
it's like by the way
wacha niulize lakini wewe baba nani Demi yako tuana ball au kuguza at least usikie kicks. Unajua it's a thing. Like the baby in the womb ukick. Uguze hata kama from a distance. Ujuange ukweli kuna mtoi hapo.
Those fake pregnancies are usually for side chicks. By the way, before we bounce, I'm just curious, has there been successful cases of people who've been able to to find the lost babies?
Yes. Some of the women we met, there are some who were able to find their children after a year, I think 2 years, and that's a good thing.
Hey,
so one of the problems is that is there. That's good, right? That there is hope. So it's not all gloom and doom. That even if they're stolen, there's a chance that those children can be found. Sometimes they're stolen and then wanaachwa tu mahali anapelekwa kwa karao. And then there's no photo, mtoi ajui jina yake, ajui yene, you never went to that nini. They're put up in a child care facility. So there is hope. What needs to happen is that these children that are in need, pictures zao zinafaa zote zipigwe, zisirculatiwe.
Okay.
If you know any of this, mzazi akuje approve uni mtoto wake arudishwe mama yake jamini na baba yake.
Man, thank you so much, Njeri. We love the work that you're doing at the BBC. For those who haven't watched this documentary, it is available on YouTube. I can't wait to watch the next parts that you're working on. And Maze, thank you so much for opening our eyes on this one.
God bless you, Njeri.
Thank you. I'll tell you about the next one when it's out. All
right.
Thanks.
Njeri Mwangi, journalist at BBC. Oscar waiting.
Oscar in waiting.
Oscar in waiting, lady. And you know her. She's been here before with her lovely husband Boniface Mwangi, and she's here, man.
They're busy, man. You guys are busy.
Kuna part. What I really love, there's a part, Maze. She got emotional. You know, sometimes when a journalist and a cover thing and and how did it make you feel? How did it make you feel? How did it make you feel? Mimi kama mwenye na watch nataka kuna machozi yako bana.
Yeah.
Anyway, ladies, I hope msikia, husbands as well, msiache wenu waende kuzaa huko unafikirini. Unamwambia tu wewe kuja na wewe mtoto. It's her responsibility hapana. You should also take part. Otherwise, msitakuibia mtoi, man.
Vibes Radio, we rule the nation in this generation.